wanted was, we wanted to take an interview of yours and then have the video in the SOXA website so that everybody throughout the globe, wherever they are, they would get to know what you wanted, about your experience in life, how it became, a lot of things. I mean, your story to be in short, I mean, because everybody wants to talk to you, but they are so far away, they don't get a chance. So we begin.
I think many know already my life, but of course not. They knew it from when I was young with them playing football and whatnot. But now they will know it from an old man.
You are not old, father. Father, in Malta, I mean, let's start from the very beginning. You were just showing me a few pictures, and you said these were of which year was it, when you were a class 3 boy or something?
What class 3? I was
you were 3
3
years old.
years old.
So what are you doing here?
I'm learning driving already.
Okay. So this is the beginning of your motorcycle practice actually. So this was Father George at the age of 3?
At the age of 3, 1940.
That hat that you have got, is it a navy hat or something?
That is because one of my eldest brothers,
yes,
he was a band master. He was already in the band, so that is kind of a cap for the beginners, those who are learning to play the band.
Here there is a picture which says you are looking for crickets.
Cricket, not this cricket that we play here, but those insects.
The green ones that make a
they
lot
are
of
like
noise.
cockroaches, crickets. We used to put. They are mainly in summer. So at night I used to put sacks in the garden, and some tomatoes underneath, and these crickets will just go there. And early in the morning, I used to go remove the sack gently, and then catch these crickets and keep them in tins with holes, and then at night keep them under the bed, and they go on cricketing and chirping.
So that was the lullaby, they put you to sleep actually.
Yeah.
So this was at the age of how old?
Same thing. This is September 1946. I was 3 years old.
Okay. So your love for animals and birds and insects was as old as you were just 3 years old.
Right. From that time I was already a good animal lover.
Here you look like a very nice, sober boy standing and posing for a nice
That one,
picture.
let me see. Yeah, this is October also at that time. It's not very clear, but
this is Father George, you see?
There are 3 cats there.
Oh, are there 3 cats? Right.
You've got one here, there, no, you can't see.
Very clear.
You've got one here, on this side, and one on this side.
So Father George at the age of 3. And then there's another Father George feeding rabbits here. This one
also the rabbits in our garden.
in Malta.
In Malta. The field and animals always my favorites.
Father, tell me something about your family, about the parents and your brothers and sisters.
Well, many of the old boys, the really old boys, not the new ones, they will be knowing my brother who was here. He is the eldest in the family and I was the youngest. We were 11. But in the meantime 4 died. So we are 7. My eldest brother, when he joined the society, I was only at this age, 3 years old. So I don't know him at home. And I remember myself like this because I have the photos, otherwise I won't remember that also. So
how many brothers and sisters were you?
4. We were 4 brothers and 3 sisters, and 4 died in between. But we were always like that, brother, sister, brother, sister, brother, sister. Even when somebody died young, then the next that comes, remains always to keep the brother, sister scales.
And tell us something about your parents, father, your father and your mother.
Well, my parents, my father was a teacher, and my parents were very generous and concerned and helpful very charitable. They are ready, or they were always ready to see who needs help, neighbors, whatever it is. And say if somebody tells my mommy, she finds out that, for example, they have no children and they are old and they are alone, and they want to go and take the maida to the baker to prepare bread for them and whatnot. We used to tell them, don't worry, I will send you my son. So when she comes home, she comes with a list. You have to go to those people, and see what they want you to do, and you go and run errands for them. That was practically 4 or 5 times a week, it was like that.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
You could have compared this one.
And Father, so basically, when you at Xaviers, we saw you very concerned about not only the students, even the locality. People who had snake bites used to come to you, get them treated. It was a lore at that point of time. Father has a special stone and he drugs the poison out of it.
That's what they say, but though I don't believe in it. But anyway, maybe psychologically it works. It worked pretty often. I still remember that case when we were in Sahibganj and they brought one lady came from Sakrigali early in the morning with her son, and she put him on the rickshaw, and she told the rickshawala straight to hospital. And that fellow, the rickshawala, saw that this boy, her son, had a tight rope on his leg. And he asked her, is it a snake bite? She said, yes. So he said, no, not the hospital, and he brought him to St. Xaviers. And I was that scared. Actually, I was having cases like that, and I was a bit worried because, anyway, this mother, apparently she was crying, this is my only son, and I said, all right. I opened up the rope there, and because there was no blood circulation, and that's bad, though it helps a little anyway. But then I took him to the infirmary, that old infirmary which we had near an old bungalow in the middle, which now it is changed into the father's quarters, I think. So I just put him there in the infirmary on the table, and I had the eyepiece, a kind of a lens which I was using to repair wristwatches. So I put that on my eyes, and I started trying to see where the wound was on his leg. And when it is a snake bite, the snake has got fangs. So when it bites, that leaves a mark on the skin, a blue mark of 2 dots. From that you can somehow make out how big the snake was. But I could not find those 2 dots. What I saw was a scratch, straight scratch on the and when I examined the area properly, and I was sure that it was not a snake bite. His mother was down there squatting and praying, I'll give you everything, anything you like, I'll give you, save my son. Now, I said, if I tell her no, there was no bite at all, she will not believe. And her fear was so much infused into her son that he was getting affected. So I took my time trying to see what I'm going to tell this woman. And because I was sure that when I asked questions, that early in the morning he went to the field to do his business, and he said that a snake bit him and he ran for his life.
So he was not sure actually what bit him.
Nothing bit him. What I feel is, because if there was a bite you can make out, what I feel is there are those thorns on the fields, So
Might have got a
probably there
scratch.
was a big scratch with that and zigzagging. So I concluded that was the case. So while I was there, and what shall I tell this woman? Then I removed the eyepiece, I looked at her, I smiled. I told her, how lucky is your son? The snake which bit him had bitten a frog before, so there was no poison left, therefore it's only a scratch.
Okay, and she was so delighted to hear that.
So delighted, and then she wanted to give me something, she wanted to pay me. Again I thought, I said, no, if I don't take anything, she's going to feel bad and probably she will think that the poison will come again. Because we all have. So I still remember, since we were finding the boys 5 paisa or 10 paisa for something, I said, okay, give me 5 paisa. And she gave me 5 paisa and I took it. And anyway, they went really like that.
So coming
there were
back-
cases like that. And
Coming back to your home, father, tell us something about your school. School you studied.
Yeah, I studied like what we study here, no, the primary, then kindergarten, primary school, then you have got the high school, higher secondary, you have the GCE, General Certificate of Education, which is the equivalent to our ICSC. Then after that, I joined the society.
At what age was that, father?
That was after the ICSC. I was how much? 18,
18 years old.
18 years old, 18, 19. Then in the, when we join the society, we have 2 years novitiate and then 2 years what they call humanities.
Okay.
But in the novitiate, the first 2 years, those who have got the sort of the inclination to go to the missions, we were always reminded of missions. So they were always they used to start 1 year or 1 year and a half before to start sending letters to the provincial that they would like to go to the missions. Well, I never sent any letter because somehow I felt when they used to tell me, but if you want to go, you will have to write. I said, no. I am convinced that the way I joined and I was called to this, felt the call to join, it's in me that I want to help others. So I was 100% sure that I will go.
Okay.
So I did not feel the need to. But then in the first year, after 2 years, in the first year, that is my 3rd year as a Jesuit, young Jesuit, we had the spiritual father, director. He said, well, you see, actually, at least even once you should, so that the provincial will know. I told him, well, I think the Almighty will inspire him. But anyway, so I just sent a note that I am ready to go if I am called. You know. And I was chosen. And this is the photo when before we were leaving, before I was leaving.
Right.
Where is it? This is the one with the hat.
Okay.
And the other one is one Father Raymond Atsopardi,
Okay.
who was teaching in St. Xaviers.
So you were the one with the white hat on top?
I am the one with the white hat. And
This is
later
Father
on
George with the white hat. This was at the age of
that must have been 21.
21 years old.
21. In 22 I came back. I came here. So that's how I joined, and then I was called to come over to India because in Malta we had that Dunka province. So we used to come here for
Got it. Then, Father, you came to India at the age of 21.
I came in 1965.
Okay.
22, because I was in
So
43.
where did you first come in India? Which place?
When I landed in India, of course, we landed in Calcutta. I think, I don't know, we did not stop in Bombay, we stopped in Calcutta. And at that time, my brother came to meet me there at the airport, the eldest brother, whom I don't know him at home. So he came to meet me at the airport, and of course we took the car of the college here, St. Xaviers College, Park Street. And we were coming from the airport. Halfway through, I was just in the back seat and looking at my brother, hear him talking to another brother there, another Jesuit. And halfway through, he looked at me. He said, "George, you are so quiet. Say something." I remember I told him, "You look so much like my brother." He turned back and he said, "Yes, I'm his brother." You see, he left me a boy of 3 years old, and now he's seeing a young man like me there. So for him it was also sort of a bit emotional moment, as it was for me. Yeah, then we came here to St. Xaviers. From here we went up to Dumka via Rampurhat. Yes, and proceeded to Dumka via Turai. We spent about 4 days there in Dumka. Then initially from there I went straight to Ranchi to study Hindi.
So you studied Hindi in Ranchi?
Studied in Gumla, Ranchi. And but I was supposed to do at least 1 year of Hindi. But the superior, after 4 months, anyway, I had picked up some Hindi, but after 4 months the superior sent for me. He said, "Come back." So I had to come back to Dumka. And when I reached Dumka, he said, "You have to proceed to Sahibganj, because we have got a school there, St. Xaviers School. I didn't know anything about it so far. And you will be there." So my brother, who was in Dumka, stationed in Dumka, I told him, "You come and take me," because alone from here to Dumka, when I came to know that it takes about 5 hours.
By the bus?
And by the bus and alone, and with the little Hindi that I knew, I was scared. He said, "Don't worry." He said, "We'll put you on the bus here in Dumka. When you reach a place," which later on I came to know that it is Jalebi, that he said, "You see the river down there, and zigzagging road, like in a jungle." He said, "And then you reach a plain, and then the bus, when it stops, that is Sahibganj. It will not go anywhere else." He said, "And you with the white cassock, as soon as they see you coming out of the bus, rickshaw will come for you, and there is no need to tell him anything. He will know that he will take you to St. Xaviers Sahibganj." So everything went well. When I reached Sahibganj, the same thing happened. Without opening my mouth, I had a trunk. They put it on the rickshaw. He told me to sit on it also, and off we went. And we entered this Sahibganj. The first, St. Xaviers. The first, of course, St. Xaviers was not what it is now. The first person I met there was one Father Girlando, who was director at that time. He was a Maltese. So when he saw me, he said, "You are the new prefect. Welcome, welcome, welcome." So the first thing he told me, here, it's an English medium school, so no Hindi with the boys.
But they sent you to learn Hindi?
That's precisely, I went to learn Hindi. I thought that I am going to practice the little broken Hindi that I knew. English. Okay. But that was not all. We started with trouble immediately. He said, you know, and many boys know about this one, especially the old boys, the problem of water that they had in Sahibganj. I didn't know anything in St. Xaviers. So he told me, and by the way, you see, this evening, I'm just coming from Dumka, scared, alone. Immediately he tells me, this evening, tonight, will you please go to Calcutta? Calcutta? Yeah, by train, don't worry. Why? Because the pump got burnt. It was a 1 or 2 horsepower pump, electric pump. So when it burnt, that we had to pump water. So he told me to come down to Calcutta, and there will be that brother Bhuti. In the morning, he will give you another one, and you come back tomorrow night. Wow. Anyway, I made it, but I remember when I returned back to Sahibganj with this pump, the coolie had the pump on his head. I was caught at the gate of the railway station by the ticket collector in Sahibganj. And then somebody told the TT, oh, he is of St. Xaviers. He said, go. Anyway, and then we started. So that was in 1966. So I was already there with the first batch. Actually, the first batch was in 69, but the first batch boys were there.
So you mean the first batch, Rita was there?
No, because Rita Copolani, actually, her sister and her brother and 2 others were the first 5 when the school opened. And that opened in 1957. But then after 3 years or 4 years, her father shifted to Calcutta. So that's all they did in St. Xaviers.
So Rita didn't continue her studies till the end?
No. She continued in Calcutta, but not in St. Xaviers, in Sahibganj.
And then how many years did you stay in St. Xaviers at a stage? From 6
years, this time it was only for 6 months. After 6 months, when I was settling down in that beautiful school, no Hindi, English, all right, well and good. After 6 months, Father Savona sent a note, please tomorrow you go to Timpahar. And I remember I cried at that time because I was enjoying really my what we call regency, teaching and with the boys. After 6 months I had settled down. As I settled down, you go to Timpahar, and it struck me, the little Hindi I had in those 6 months gone to the river. And then another big problem was, I am going to a place to be in the hostel of Santals, and I did not know a single word of Santali. But I still remember the superior told me, you don't worry about the language. He said, you have got the sports language. You are a footballer. The Santals like football very much. And that was true. So from there I went to Timpahar. Then again Timpahar, hardly 1 year. When the superior was changed, there was Father Karwana. He said, please go to Pune for philosophy.
That was Dean Obidi College?
Dean Obidi College in Pune. So I went there. I spent 2 years there in Pune. When I came back to St. Xaviers, Sahibganj.
That was in which year?
That is 1969.
Most of the...
Yes, 69, because I was there in the first batch exams.
So you were in Xaviers from 69 onwards at a stretch, or did you leave for some time elsewhere?
From
else?
66, 6 months, and then till Pahar. Pune. That
Pune.
was a big gap then because I was in Pune from 66 then 69. 69 also I was there for only 1.5 years or 2 years. Then I was sent the other side of the river to Kherson
Okay.
for theology. And that was 2 years in Kherson. Then it was a shifting of the college of Kherson from Kherson to Delhi. So I spent 2 years more in Delhi. 73 I finished Delhi. In 74 I came back to, after theology, I came back to Sahibganj. Then
You stayed continuously for
74, I don't remember exactly how long I was there at that time, probably 2 or 3 years. Because then I went to Barharwa, but only for 1 year, and again to Sahibganj. 70, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, and I left in 84.
Okay. Did you leave in 84, Father, or were you still there in 84?
83?
Because when we were there, we found you.
When?
85, 86, 84. Were you there in 84?
84 I was there because Father Varghese Palli then,
The one who taught us chemistry.
yeah.
Is in Raiganj?
No,
Oh, that is Varghese Putusheri.
Varghese Putuseri, that was Varghese Putuseri, this is Varghese Palli.
He was the principal.
He was prefect when I was there, vice principal,
Okay.
and then he took over as vice
So
principal.
this is more or less a brief account of your history to Sahibganj. Now I just happen to have quite a few pictures which you brought along, which I think I would love all the SOXA boys and all the students would love to see. Now this is a typical Father George picture with a big python and a white dog. What's the name of the dog, Father? This is.
That was, I don't remember.
Okay, there were so many that this is one of those many dogs that he had. There's a big python there and a white dog looking at it. And see how benign the dog is. It's not barking at the python. So that is what you call mutual coexistence. So he began at the age of 3 with rabbits and crickets and whatnot. And now it's a python and a dog. Here you have another python. And this is Father Girlando.
No, that's Father Kalleya.
Okay. And this is a very old picture. Rarely have we seen Father George with a cat. Now here he is there with a cat, as you can see. I think he's trying to feed the cat something. And that's him with the cat. And then this is another one. Typical example of live and let live. Father George with a big python and the white dog, and a very keen observant, the dog and the python on his lap, vying space on his lap, as I should say.
Well, we had a kind of aviary there.
Yes, not
in
just
the
an
middle,
aviary, there was everything.
Where it was the foundation of the old
Can you see
kitchen.
this picture?
And we had a lot of pythons, peacock, iguana, and it was an attraction for the boys.
And also there were plenty of dogs actually. I mean,
Dogs, we had
were
about
always
6
there.
or 7.
And Alsatians.
Alsatians, Pomeranians, we had sausage dogs, this dachshund.
And this is a smaller version of another snake. I don't know, he is an expert in snakes.
That is cobra.
That's a cobra.
That's more dangerous than any
Yeah.
of those big pythons.
Imagine Father George with a cobra and smiled on his face. I would have fainted right away. And I remember when he used to catch all these snakes, he used to bisect them in the biology lab and show us where the poison glands were. This is a very nice picture. You can see Father Saliva in the background also.
Yes.
And Father George with a snake. There's something written. I'll just read it out for you once you take the snap. And it says, okay, at night, station. Oh, you see, he keeps on making notes at the back of photographs. He has to buy some medicines for somebody. Is it 10 milligrams at night or something?
Start out 10 mg at night, Simlo. 10 mg. That was some father was sick and...
Father, there are this gentleman and the lady. And the gentleman on
Yeah,
the
those
extreme
were,
left and the right, they were volunteers who used to come at
volunteers, they had
times.
come to,
And this is a kitchen staff. I don't remember his name. Was it
Pangru?
Pangru?
Pangru.
Yeah.
Many
That was-
will know
that
him
many
as
of you will
Pangru.
know Pangru in his younger days. And Pangru is here. This is another picture. I think you've seen this of the big python and Father George with it. Now these are a very few rare pictures. Many of us rue the fact that the cactus is no longer there. Now here you can see a young, and look at this, I mean, Father George, he's so thin, and look at him
It
now.
was a cactus which at that time was already some 40 years old.
Which year was it, Father? Which year was it?
That was, it should be
Roughly.
in the 78, 79.
So this was roughly around the late 70s, 78, 79. The cactus in the background and a very lean Father George standing in front, quite different from what he is today. And this is a beautiful old picture, a very rare picture, I must say. Father will explain that to you.
Where we had the pond, a
Yes.
small pond,
Yes,
and the statue of Saint Joseph with the background, the river.
the Ganges in the river.
There were two big trees. We used to call them the flame of the forest, I think. All red. Unfortunately, those have been cut down also.
And his sister, I don't know which sister,
That is
Mother Philippa.
Mother Philippa. That
Okay,
first
here we
group
have
of
Mother
sisters.
Philippa. I wonder if you'll be able to see this. If a close-up view of Mother Philippa here, many students will recollect, have very fond memories of Mother Philippa. And this is that a close-up view of that flame of the forest, which Father was just speaking a short while ago. Here again we have some very excellent memories. The cactus here on the right hand side, and then you have Sister Adalgisa. Unfortunately, Sister Adalgisa is very ill now.
She is still alive, but she is very ill. She is suffering from Parkinson's disease. And earlier when I went and met her, she used to ask about the boys, the names of the old boys and whatnot.
This is another picture of the cactus in the background and many known faces. We have, I believe, Miss Srivastav in the middle,
Yes.
and
exactly.
Father Spiru on the extreme left. Father will tell you the pictures. First, have a look at the picture first. Father, could you please tell us who are the ones? Sister John, I can see there.
Yes. Father Spiru, Sister Adalgisa, Sister, the one who was infirmarian,
Okay, and Miss Srivastav.
Miss
And the lady
Srivastav,
used to come as a volunteer
that
very
is
often.
from Malta, who was
And there's a sister in the behind her, I don't remember. Sister John, I can see she's standing in front. Is that Sister John?
in front.
And
The
Sister,
other one, I forgot her name.
and there is a
Can't
father
get
on
it
the
now.
right. I don't know which is that.
That is Father Zamit. He was for some time treasurer.
All right. Father Joe Scambry was also the treasurer for some time.
Yes.